what's up guys? Good morning. This morning in the garden, I'm actually here a little earlier than usual. It's still like just about 11 a.m. But it feels like still and quiet like morning, and the air is in motion, which is new for this time of year. It's been pretty stagnant and hot, but there's been a good breeze coming in, and it feels like, yes, the changing of the seasons is coming in. And that is a lot of what we're talking about today in the garden, is how everything is going to change yet again as we're moving closer to fall. If you're new here, I want to say welcome. This is the weekly garden tour here, where I talk about all the things that are going really well in the garden, all the things that are going not so well in the garden, and kind of my thoughts on what I'm doing, what's working, what's not working, what I need to change, how I'm going to solve problems, and just giving you guys a realistic view of the garden, especially when a lot of the content that you see presented to you is like an idealized version, and I want to show you like a real version, so that you don't get too discouraged in your gardening journey. There's that breeze coming in. Don't be misled though. It is cooler than it normally would be around here, but it is still already 84 degrees outside, so it is pretty hot. But that's really standard for this time in South Carolina. Alright, so let's take a look at this first row. You can see the weeding has begun here because the grass has encroached on all of this space. One of the girls in my neighborhood wants to earn money for a school trip, so it's her job to weed all of this area little by little. Basil's over here looking really healthy. I could probably go ahead and cut again for another batch of basil, because you can see flowers coming in already on this. Got to keep it cut back so that it doesn't fully go to seed, because if I do let it fully go to seed, the entire quality of the basil plant will very quickly diminish. I've still got tomatoes coming in. These are black beauties. They eventually ripen to a beautiful deep pink on the bottom, and this black on the top. Absolutely gorgeous. Black beauty is the proper name for this tomato. But all along here, these tomatoes are definitely slowing down in their production. And they are looking more sickly. I could theoretically let them continue to go. I could come through and prune all the bad stuff. I could let them produce some more, but they're only going to be slow producers for the rest of the season. And I need this space. In a small garden, I kind of have to be really efficient with my space. And since this is no longer in its peak, it's going to be time for it to come out. Now, I'm actually not sure how I'm going to handle the pole beans as I'm pulling everything out. Hopefully I can kind of work around them and not completely pull the pole beans out, because they're just hitting peak production, right? And yeah, you can see flowers everywhere. I do not want to pull these out, so hopefully I can kind of work around that. And really I only need this bottom space here for the brassicas that I'm about to put in. As for the basil, when tearing out tomatoes, I'm going to leave it at first and kind of see what it looks like having just the basil here, and then make the decision on whether or not some of that needs to come out as well. I do have this holy basil plant here. I have like 4 or 5 of them in the garden, and it has been almost too much holy basil for me to make. I've been making fresh tea all the time, making enough to share, and I think I could do without at least this plant, but all of the culinary basils I'm probably going to keep. Oh wow, look at that leaf bug. I have not seen one of those in the garden yet. That is beautiful. Anyway, as for the basil, I really do need to get on the pesto making train this year. Last year I had made enough pesto to last me an entire year in the freezer, which is amazing. And I'm definitely not on track to hit that this year again. mostly because I've just been dealing with other stuff. And I think with all the basil that's currently in the garden, if I like start right now pulling it more consistently and making a bunch of pesto, then I can definitely get pretty close to the amount that I made last year. These beans are growing so fast. Oh, hello, that's another little insect friend. There we go. I'm not entirely sure what this one is. I thought it was an assassin bug at first, but it doesn't have really the long mouthpiece that an assassin bug would. I know mostly assassin bugs are red, but some of them are like kind of gray and spiky like this. Maybe we'll ask iNaturalist what it is. But yeah, these beans grow so fast. Like this is a perfect size to harvest. But if I left this even like until later today, like this evening, it would get like a little too big. Like it would start to develop into beans inside like this, which just makes the whole thing a little bit tougher and just not quite as fun to eat. When I do pick a few beans that are a little overdone though, what I do is I blanch them first. So boil some water, throw them in for about 60 seconds. These ones specifically, they will turn green as they heat up. And so once they've turned green, you pull them out and then dry them off real quick, throw them into a waiting hot pan and just kind of saute them. So good, and it really tenderizes the ones that are just a little too tough. Now another option would be to leave the ones that I miss on for the full cycle. Let them make beans and then they will dry and I will be able to shell them and they will be like good like cooking beans. But the second that I let that happen, the production of these plants is going to decrease. With a lot of things, the more you pick them, the more the plant's going to make, because its whole goal is to make seeds, and if it feels like it's not making seeds, it will keep trying, you know? So as long as I keep picking them, it will keep producing, and once I stop, it will definitely start to slow down. So that's why I would pick something that's a little past its prime and still try and eat it. I hadn't seen this yet, but this purple basil is purple and green variegated. I hope that that's like intentional variegation on the plant's part and not some sort of disease. But that's really pretty. I might let that grow, make some seeds and save those and see if I can get this kind of color pattern back out. Just look at that. That looks really nice. Alright, let's take a look at the second row here. We've still got zinnias and tomatillos up here in the front. Tomatillos are another thing that I'm going to take out when the tomatoes come out this week, hopefully. They are still definitely fruiting. You can see flowers setting fruit in here. But they're taking up a lot of space, and I need to make different use of this space. So what I would do is I would take like all the half-formed fruits, I would probably try and use somehow, and then everything else becomes compost. And I definitely always need more compost. I might try and let the zinnias stay because they're just so gosh darn pretty. Like, look at that. Really don't want to pull these out, but you know, as I'm looking at the space that I have available after pulling out the things that I do want to pull out, we'll see if anything else needs to come out to make room for my brassicas. Just a quick little detour to look at the brassicas in question. You can see they desperately need to go in the ground. They're so big now. They've been fully hardened off, and this is mostly broccoli, cauliflower, and then over here are some Brussels sprout plants. And I started them pretty early because in the past I've never had them early enough, so I've just been pushing it earlier and earlier, and I think that I might have actually hit on a good timing on these, but we'll see. Also, I'm getting kind of worried if I don't get them transplanted soon, I think they might stunt. Okay, so behind all of that tomatillo mess are the eggplants. And I keep saying this year that the eggplants are not as big as I feel like they have been in years past. I really thought that I was going to end up with too many eggplant because I planted a lot of plants, more than normal. And I'm actually kind of low on eggplant this year. and I don't really know why, because while some of them, I definitely had them crowded when I first transplanted them out, these ones should have had plenty of room to grow to their full size. So that could be like a nutrition thing. Maybe I didn't put enough top dressing compost on here. Could be variety. I am growing almost entirely new varieties of eggplant this year, and maybe I just hit on a bunch of them that just don't get as big. It's really hard to say. The most productive variety has been this Chinese string eggplant. Check out this mess of zinnias right in front of the corn. It looks so majestic, and that corn is getting so tall. I don't see any ears forming on it yet, and I don't see any tasseling happening. So we're still a little ways out from harvesting corn, but this corn looks so healthy. I'm not really worried about it one bit. Back behind the corn, I still don't have a whole lot going on except this one marigold that has had this space all to itself and is going absolutely nuts over here. It looks great. I haven't even been keeping up with deadheading it specifically, and it's still making beautiful blossoms, fresh blooms almost every single day. You can see all these little buds coming on as well. That would also honestly be a good place for me to put in some of the fall stuff. In addition to the brassicas, I'm going to need room for carrots and rutabagas and turnips. I haven't even planted lettuces yet. I need to get those starts going. There's definitely a lot of stuff that needs to go in, and that's a prime spot. Coming back to the front of row 3 here, these blueberry bushes that are coming back, still looking pretty good. I cut a lot of the dead looking stuff off. If it still had a green stem, I left it because I'm not sure where exactly it's going to be growing all its new leaves from. But yeah, I think these are going to survive. And actually, that back corner where the poppies were, I think I'm going to put at least one blueberry bush back there, because I'm realizing that that area of the garden gets peed on quite a bit by the cats. And because it's not really practical for me to be able to control where not just my cats pee, but like all the neighborhood cats, I figured I might work with that and plant something that actually likes a little bit acidic soil. We'll see if that works. I don't actually know if it will, but you know, I have 3 blueberry bushes here, and if we put 2 of them in the blueberry patch and 1 in that back corner, you know, it's a good experiment. This noodle bean trellis starting to look really productive, especially up here at the top. I'm coming out every single day and getting noodle beans. These are Chinese red noodle beans, and this is their 3rd generation in my garden from saved seeds. So they're probably starting to adapt really well to being in this environment. And this has actually been a really good amount for me. I've had enough to give away, enough to have like fresh ones as often as I want. And I don't feel like overwhelmed, like I can't possibly give away everything that I have. So this amount of noodle beans, which is about half as many, I think, half as many plants as I had last year, it's been really, really good. Check out this cucumber growing next to the noodle beans. I should probably pull this today, actually. This plant has been like steadily but slowly producing. Here's another little baby coming on right there. I think it's doing pretty alright here in the shade. It's probably like a little too hot if it was going to be in full sun for this to be able to set fruit. So having this shade has been actually really helpful to me. I really thought when I started this garden that this tree was going to be an issue. I was looking for a spot with a lot more sun, but over the years I've been really quite grateful for kind of the difference in environment that I can give to stuff over here versus stuff where the tomatoes are that is in basically full sun for most of the day. It's been able to let me grow things like these cucumbers, and also I've seen like over here, like there's still kales here that haven't gone to seed. There's some basil that still hasn't gone to seed. It allows me to stand in my garden in the middle of the day and not absolutely die. It's been good, you know? I will say the biggest downside of this tree has been its roots kind of coming in through here. It makes it a little harder to dig big holes over here, but you know, that's really only the biggest downside. This second trellis still hasn't filled up on the top, but we've got all sorts of blue butterfly peas growing here. I've been very religiously picking the flowers because I'm saving them for tea, but they're all so gorgeous. I love this deep blue flower in my garden. I do have this cucumber plant here as well on the trellis with the blue butterfly peas, and this one hasn't actually set any fruit. I think it might be a different variety. I did plant seeds for a couple of different varieties, and I was like, oh, these look so different. I'll definitely know once they start setting fruit which is which. And because this one isn't setting fruit, I don't know, but it could be that it is one of the other varieties and maybe it's not liking the heat so much. It's definitely still growing new vines though, looking like overall pretty healthy. And then we move on to the pepper patch back here where all the hot peppers are. I'm getting a lot of baby fruits now, and it will be only a matter of time before I'm just absolutely swimming in hot peppers. Look at all these Buena Mulattos coming on. They're just everywhere. This one, putting on lots of little babies. I love how they all stick up. This will look really pretty once they all start to ripen. I've only had like 2 or 3 ripe peppers come out of here so far. But as you can see, the wave is about to hit. And I have been doing better with getting these protected blossoms to set fruit. This is one of them that I have marked, and kind of what I've been doing is, instead of putting it around just a single flower, kind of putting it around the tip of the plant where there's a couple of different flowers, and as long as they're pollinating each other, that kind of helps a little bit. Maybe it might also just be the structural integrity of the stem versus the actual little flower stem. I'm not really sure why it's helping, but it does seem to help. I'll just pull off all the bigger leaves and put the baggie over kind of like this tip, for example, right here. I would just pull off the leaves and put the baggie around the whole thing, and I think that that's been working a lot better. Coming from the pepper patch to this back corner, this is where I was talking about maybe putting in one of those blueberry bushes. You can also see I have sweet potato vines coming through here, and basically all along the back section here. Those are doing alright. I still haven't gotten a chance to try these leaves in a stir fry, but they are apparently edible. And then the front section here, most of the way down, is more sweet peppers. And I've gotten maybe a couple of fruits off of here so far, but most of them are still in the just about to ripen or growing stage. So similar to the hot peppers, I am just a couple of weeks away from having an abundance of these. And then I will set about making my Ivar sauce. Actually, a few weeks ago, one of you suggested a different sauce for me to make that was like along the same lines as Ivar, and I cannot find that comment anymore, and I don't remember what it was. So if that was you and you remember doing that, if you could re-comment it. I really do want to try making whatever sauce that was, because I remember looking it up and I remember thinking that it was really good. My little strawberry transplants looking really good these days. I think maybe just 1 to 2 more weeks and these will be healthy enough to give away. I did lose just one of them, but the rest are looking really quite good. And I did, like, all of these are new leaves that you're seeing, except for the ones that look kind of damaged, because I did cut off a lot of the damaged leaves so that the plant could redirect its growth towards these little ones. And that seems to have been the right decision. That seems to be paying off. I just saw this pepper with a hole like clean through it. I'm gonna go ahead and pull that and use that as a green pepper. It honestly doesn't look like it's gone bad at all. It just has a hole. So I caught it in time. That would have been a really beautiful red pepper, but it'll still be just as edible as a green pepper. If you didn't know, the green bell peppers that you buy from the store are just unripe red bell peppers, or orange or yellow or whatever color. This would ripen to red, and right now when it's unripe, it will have kind of that same flavor as a green bell pepper. You know, less sweet, and like, I don't know what else you would call the flavor of a green pepper, but tastes like green peppers. They are the same thing, just picked at different stages of ripeness. And I think that's often why the green ones are less expensive, because it doesn't take as long to grow them. I'm not a farmer though, I'm just a gardener with a guess. These cosmos, they do make really beautiful little flowers, but I just, they're not as pretty as the zinnias because the blooms are small, and I feel like there's not quite as many of them. Not sure if I'm going to keep these for next year. Oh, and the corn in this area. Definitely still growing. Still looking like really small, delicate corn. Not really sure if it's going to make it all the way to maturity. But I'm definitely going to keep giving it a chance. Because, right now I'm just really curious to see what's going to happen with it. And just a quick checkup on the raised beds over here. Not a whole lot changing in here. They're looking pretty much the same as last week. Oregano still going to seed over here. Thyme, all the bits that went to seed dried up, and you can see all the new growth that did not flower is really shining through now. I've been pulling from these for dried spices for the year, and starting to build up my stores. This is Mexican tarragon, looking beautiful. Oh, with a cute little bee in it too. And then in this other raised bed, I'm thinking about pulling this lettuce out, filling it up with a lot more compost, and then doing carrots in this section, kind of where I can keep a closer eye on them. I think it might be easier to keep them watered and keep the seeds from getting eaten up here in the raised bed, but we'll see. Berry patch is also on the list of things that needs to get cleaned up. I think after I've planted fall stuff, this is next. Getting this weeded, getting all of the berry bushes pruned back for the fall. Right now, raspberries are what's producing, and they're producing a lot. Still going hard, going strong. I really thought that there would be like some sort of break in it, but there really hasn't been. And these are supposed to fruit twice a year, in the summer and in the fall. And maybe we're still in the swing of the summer stuff. I don't know. But I still see new flowers everywhere on the plant. Like right here is a branch covered in freshly set flowers and baby fruits. My kitties are not here to greet me today because they both wanted to stay inside, and I can't blame them with how hot it is. But this potted mint section over here, I think has been looking a lot better since I put it in the shade. And they have not yet managed to destroy the catnip. So that's good. It's been doing a good job serving its purpose as kind of like a fun thing for the cats to do outside. Alright guys, that is it for me today. If you are new and this was your first time watching, I'm so happy that you're still here, here at the end of the video. If you want more, then check out this playlist up here and you can find all of the previous garden tours. Additionally, if you want to watch these videos ad-free, I do have a Patreon where all the videos get posted. They usually get posted a little early on the Patreon, and they are all ad-free. You can access that for any level of donation at all, but there are additional tiers that you can choose if you want more benefits than just that. My personal favorite benefit is the Discord community, where you can come in and show off pictures of your garden, talk about maybe pests or problems that you're dealing with, and get direct feedback from me and my moderators. So I think that that's really fun. And if you have any questions about the fall garden, I'm thinking about making a video about that. And if you put them in the comments below, I might be able to address those questions in that video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, happy gardening!